How well do we really know the person we vow to spend forever with? Can a smile mask a scheme, or a kiss conceal betrayal? What happens when the law meant to protect becomes the very weapon used against you? They say love is blind, but sometimes love isn't blind. It's bound, gagged, and buried alive beneath a facade of trust and affection. This is the story of Michael and Flora. A story of marriage, betrayal, and the calculated deceit of not one, but two people united not by love alone, but by greed. If real-life stories get you breathless, subscribe to Betrayal and Infidelity Exposed for our real stories. Michael Bernard was a man who had built everything from the ground up. From a modest background, he rose through sheer grit and a relentless work ethic to become a successful real estate developer in Austin, Texas. He was admired in business circles and respected in his community. But most importantly, he believed in family. And he believed in his wife, Flora. Flora was the epitome of elegance and grace. A former model turned boutique owner, she met Michael at a charity gala 8 years ago. Their love story had the sparkle of a fairy tale, glamorous, passionate, and picture-perfect. To outsiders, their life was enviable. But beneath the surface, shadows stirred. 3 years into the marriage, Flora met Stanley, a poised and charismatic family lawyer known for handling high-profile divorces in Texas. They met at a wellness retreat in Colorado, and their connection was instant. What began as a professional acquaintance quickly deepened into something more intimate. At first, Flora struggled with guilt. She was married after all. But Stanley was magnetic, persuasive, and offered something Michael never could. A sense of control, danger, and forbidden excitement. Their secret affair bloomed in the dark, each meeting wrapped in deception. Over time, desire turned to ambition, and ambition to conspiracy. One night, over a glass of wine in Stanley's downtown Austin condo, he whispered the idea. What if you didn't have to choose? What if we could have both? Each other and his wealth. Flora's eyes widened. You mean, divorce him? Stanley leaned in, eyes gleaming. Yes, let's take what he doesn't see coming. From that moment, the plan began to take shape. Flora would begin to feign dissatisfaction, document fabricated emotional abuse, and create a narrative of neglect and abandonment. Stanley, acting as her attorney, would handle the divorce proceedings, carefully maneuvering the law to ensure that Flora would get the lion's share of the marital assets. Michael was blindsided. When Flora told him she wanted a divorce, his world crumbled. He had no idea what he had done wrong. She cited emotional distance, dishonesty, and irreconcilable differences. He pleaded, he fought, and eventually he hired his own attorney, but it was too late. Documents had already been manipulated. Witnesses had been paid. Photos had been staged. The law, supposed to be his refuge, was now a weapon pointed at his heart. One evening, weeks before the court hearing, Michael came home early from a business trip. As he entered the house, he heard laughter from the upstairs study. Curious, he crept up the stairs. Through a crack in the slightly ajar door, he saw Flora on a video call. Her voice was soft, playful. After this is over, she said, I want us to buy that vineyard in Napa. Stanley's voice replied, It's yours. Everything will be ours soon, Flora. Michael froze. His heart raced. Betrayal was no longer a suspicion, it was confirmed. But he didn't burst through the door. Instead, he retreated silently and called a private investigator the next morning. Over the next several weeks, he uncovered damning evidence. Texts between Flora and Stanley discussing asset division, strategy, and even mock testimonies. He discovered a burner phone hidden in Flora's designer handbag, loaded with messages and photographs from their clandestine meetings. On the day of the court hearing, Michael's lawyer tried to submit the evidence, but procedural technicalities, likely orchestrated by Stanley, kept it out. Still, Michael kept collecting. After the divorce, when Flora and Stanley were married in a lavish, secretive ceremony, the media caught wind. Rumors spread fast. Then came the anonymous leak, a flash drive sent to a local journalist with labeled folders: adultery, fraud, conspiracy. The story exploded across social media. Michael became the sympathetic figure in a high-profile scandal that painted Flora and Stanley as modern-day Macbeths. Their new firm lost clients overnight. Protesters picketed outside their downtown office. Flora's boutique was vandalized. But the biggest blow came when Michael, through persistence and a new legal team, filed a civil lawsuit for conspiracy to defraud, submitting every piece of evidence he had. The court granted a retrial. Stanley's license was suspended pending investigation. Flora faced perjury charges. The once golden couple watched their empire crumble, brick by deceitful brick. Michael never smiled at their fall, but in the silence of his rebuilt life, he finally found peace. Was it really love that bound Flora and Stanley? Or was it the thrill of conquest? Does love justify betrayal when hearts are used as currency in a transaction of greed? Michael never remarried. He poured himself into mentoring young entrepreneurs and launched a nonprofit focused on legal support for men in unjust divorces. Flora and Stanley slowly retreated from the public eye. Their firm dissolved amid lawsuits and public scrutiny. Now we turn the mirror to you. What would you have done in Michael's shoes? Was Flora truly in love, or merely in league with an accomplice? Can betrayal ever be justified by happiness? Share your thoughts. Let's talk about trust, love, law, and how sometimes the real enemies lie not outside the home, but within it.